This Monday morning edition of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by none other than First Round Collectibles. Right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, you get 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. They also have a sale up to 50% off, and with our promo code, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. What's your sport? Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, maybe wrestling, maybe even boxing, whatever it is, you can get it at firstroundcollectibles.com. Use our promo code SportsAddict for 10% off regular priced and sales priced items. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what she used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins. Can't relax. Original. I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever.
And welcome. Screw the countdown. It's a Monday. Welcome to Pucks Across Borders on a Monday morning on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports. Good to be here. I meant to click to the countdown, but I clicked to something else. It doesn't matter. We're here. It's all good. You know the drill. Monday morning, lots to get into from a wild weekend, as always, in the NHL. But first, at the top of your screen, right beside me, my buddy, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. John, how we feeling on a Monday, bro?
Doing all right. Definitely a wild weekend in the hockey world, and looking forward to diving into it.
100%. And at the bottom of our screen, you see him on Total Apex Sports, talking all things college and professional sports. You read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics and on Winners and Whiners. Andre, how you feeling on a Monday, bro?
Feeling pretty good. I'm ready to get this week started. Can't say that for most Mondays, so glad to be back.
Absolutely. And let's just dive right into it, boys. What is our takeaways from the NHL? We got a bunch of games throughout the week, only 2 tonight. We'll hit you with our bad beats and break down everything in the NHL tonight. But first, Andre, let's start with you, man. What is your takeaway from this weekend in the NHL?
How can it be anything other than the Washington Capitals, who
Jeez.
now hold a playoff spot? 1, 2, they're only a couple points back of the Flyers with 2 games in hand. They have basically every tiebreaker over them too. It's the Capitals, currently lined up for a playoff spot, currently lined up to play the New York Rangers in the first round. Actually, I should probably stop gassing them up so much, but they beat the Canes 7-6 on Friday. Crazy game. You never expect this team to score 6 goals, but they scored 6 goals in 3 periods on 20. I don't even remember what I texted. Was it 25 shots? Absolute
Something like that.
Insanity. Never see that from the team. What you usually see from this team is what happened on Sunday against the Winnipeg Jets. Another playoff team, another cup contender, 3-0. Absolutely shut them out. You know, their goal differential may still be -27, but they're in a wild card spot. They have the inside track for the 3rd spot in the Metro. They have games in hand on pretty much everyone in the Eastern Conference that's contending, except for the Maple Leafs, but that's not really a team they're chasing anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Expect to see the Washington Capitals playing extra hockey this spring. All jokes aside, all future Stanley Cup bets aside, plus 15,000, I believe you guys told me earlier. Thank you.
Yep.
I placed some money on that. Don't worry about it. But yeah, all jokes aside, this team is legitimately in line to make the playoffs, and it's crazy how they got there. They have a huge game tomorrow. They have some easy games coming up. I think they begin April with Buffalo and Pittsburgh. So Ovi's got some extra life in him.
Yeah, speaking of Ovi too, I just gotta throw this out there. I was talking to you guys about this earlier. That goal, he scored 2 goals yesterday. The first goal, literally, Oshie's about to shoot the puck, and Ovi tucks his stick behind the puck, and they shoot it together. It was very cute. And Ovi ended up getting the goal, and they were joking about it on the bench, laughing about it. I thought that was really funny. And you're right. Washington plays Detroit tomorrow. I think they played. This could be wrong, so fact check me. But I think they play Detroit 2 more times, including tomorrow. And I know they play Buffalo twice as well. Now Buffalo has found themselves pretty far back. Big win last night. But if Buffalo considers themselves a contender for a wild card spot, then those 2 games are really huge too. So yeah, man, Washington Cap. And I was telling you guys this yesterday, man. If you're a Washington fan, then you're stoked, clearly. But for me, like, they're just so boring to watch. Like I don't watch them and get excited. You know what I mean? And maybe that's because I bet against them more than I should. So maybe it's more of a like me issue than a them issue. But yeah, man, just unbelievable the stretch that they've been on. And like you said, a huge game tomorrow night against Detroit. John, what? Yeah, go ahead, Andre.
So I pulled up the schedule, what they have remaining. Very interesting season finale in Philly.
Oh,
could be a huge game.
So let's just say a scenario where you're Washington and you're in the wild card, but whoever wins that last game plays either the Rangers or Carolina. Basically, right? That's what it's going to be. Or Florida or Boston. It's like, I don't know. We're going to get destroyed either way. Yeah, that's really interesting down the stretch. John, what is your takeaway from the NHL this weekend?
I just want to note something about the Capitals real quick. One of you guys mentioned their goal differential, and I noticed they're one of only 2 teams currently in the playoffs with a negative goal differential, and they have 19 more negative goals than Philadelphia. So
yeah,
minus 27, minus 8, and everyone else is plus. And ironically, Detroit's plus. So I guess just get the points. Washington certainly proven that. My takeaway is kind of related to all 3 of our teams, just something funny and as a Devils fan, tearful to an extent. Going to go back to Saturday. Andre's boys, the Rangers, took on the Florida Panthers. Mark's boys took on the Edmonton Oilers, and my team took on those woeful Ottawa Senators. And I would argue Florida and Edmonton are the 2 best teams in the league right now. What happens? The Rangers beats Florida in a close game, competitive game. Mark, your Maple Leafs had a pretty impressive showing against the Oilers. What does my team do? We lose to the Senators. And I think what makes that extra ironic is that the next day we beat the Islanders 4-0. So it's like Saturday just had to be that cross that day out with an X type of day and forget it ever happened. As a Devils fan, I just think as a Devils fan, that sums up how the season is going. That whole slate.
It's reminding me a little bit of the Pittsburgh Penguins last year, where you need every game to get into the playoffs and you lose to the stupidest teams. Like, I mean, listen, man, like in my brain, when I just think about teams making it to the playoffs without looking at any stats in front of me, New Jersey, no disrespect, but New Jersey's long gone in my mind. Like, I don't even consider them in the race. But you look at the standings, they're 5 points back right now. Like, they're right there. And it's games like that, right? Like, okay, the Islanders are a team that you have to hop over. You beat them. It's great. But you got to beat Ottawa, man. Like, you got to beat Ottawa. Now, mind you, like, Ottawa had a good weekend, man. Like, they beat the Oilers last night. They beat your guys Saturday. But yeah, as a Devils fan, Devils player, as a Devil, you want, like, if you're gonna miss the playoffs by 1 point, you look to losing against Ottawa. You know what I mean? It's like, man, we should have had that game. My takeaway: 2 players this past weekend, yesterday actually, reached 50 goals, Zach Hyman and Sam Reinhart. Now, Sam Reinhart, he came into this league as a high draft pick. He came into this league as a junior star. He came into this league with high expectations. Now, he started his career in Buffalo, and there for a long stretch of time, I think they're coming out of it now, but for a long time, Buffalo is where potential went to die. So you get Sam Reinhart, who was in Buffalo for a long time, wasn't really reaching his potential, came to Florida, and in a contract year is going to have a massive payday with the biggest season of his career, 50 goals. Not trying to downplay what he's done at all. Then you have Zach Hyman, who I've talked about on the show before. Anytime he's talked about in Toronto radio, he's the one that got away, right? He's the one that got away. You didn't want to pay him, and now he's off in Edmonton putting up massive points. Zach Hyman has always been the player, even in junior hockey, making his way up to the NHL. He has always been the player who was talented, but wasn't a good skater, wasn't very fast. This guy has worked his tail off. Now, the fact that you play with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and now Draisaitl and McDavid or whatever, that's going to make people hate on you. That's going to make people doubt you. That's going to make, you know what I mean? That's going to make people, well, yeah, but he's playing with McDavid or he's playing with whatever. This guy has worked so hard to get to where he is now, to where he's had to be. Coming in with the Leafs, 16 games he played in the 2015-16 season, scored 6 points in 16 games. The next year, in 82 games, he had 10 goals. Next season, 82 games, 15 goals, 21 goals, 21 goals. In the COVID year, he had 15 goals. Then he goes to Edmonton. So he's rising up goals every year. Yes, playing with great players. Then he goes to Edmonton. He gets 27 goals, 27 assists for 54 points in his first year with the Oilers. Last year, he has 36 goals, 47 points, 36 goals, 47 helpers for 83 points. This year, 50 goals, 19 assists, 69 points. Just really, really cool to see a player like Zach Hyman, who, by all accounts, was kind of cast off. He's a third liner, fourth liner. Just because you play with Connor McDavid doesn't mean you're a lock to have 50 goals. Not everyone can play with those guys, right? You had Sidney Crosby. Oh, man. Who is that player My brain is completely escaping me, but there's a player who Sidney Crosby played with for a long time who is retired now, I believe, who literally made it onto Team Canada because he played so well with Sidney Crosby back in the day. Like, not everybody can play with these good players. Not everybody can keep up. And for Hyman to do what he's done is absolutely terrific. So shout out to him, 50 goals. We miss you. We love you, Zach Hyman. Congratulations on 50 goals. Now, I'm a little long-winded, but one other player quickly I want to shout out is Jonathan Drouin. He was drafted very high. He was Tampa Bay's kind of like next one when he was drafted. Really good junior player. I remember when he was drafted, Canada couldn't get enough of this guy. He has been a bust for pretty much his whole career. He has flirted with not being in the NHL multiple times in his career. 2014 and 15, he played 70 games, 4 goals. The next year, 21 games, 4 goals. Next year, 73 games, 21 goals, better. Then he gets traded to Montreal. 77 games, 13 goals. The next year, 81 games, 18 goals. Okay, better, but still not the guy that we thought he would be. The next season, 27 games, 7 goals. In the COVID year, 44 games, 2 goals. Then 34 games, 6 goals. 58 games last year with Montreal, 2 goals. This year with Colorado, he's played 68 games, 14 goals, 32 helpers for 46 points. Might not jump off the page. In the last 2 games, he has 8 points. In the last 5 games, he has 8 points, 2 goals. Had maybe his best game of the year yesterday. He seems like he's really found his spot with Colorado. And I just want to shout out Jonathan Drouin. This guy, it's been a fight for him his whole career. Lots of potential, high hopes, specifically in the media. And for him to do what he's doing in Colorado, shout out to you, man. It's good to see. So Zach Hyman, Jonathan Drouin, and of course Sam Reinhart having huge weekends, and really happy for both of those, or all 3 of those guys. All right, moving on to our bad beats. Andre, let's start with you, man. What was your bad beat this weekend? I feel like before we get to this, let's just say this. Last weekend, and Andre, you're the one that pointed this out to me. Last week, Monday to Friday, 11 for 15 on our best bets, boys. Really, really strong week. Saturday, we threw out a little bonus best bets, and we're not going to count it. It never happened. So 11 for 15 last week. But when you bet, inevitably, there's some bad beats. Andre, what do you got, man? What's your bad beat from the weekend?
Well, just to take it a step further, get rid of because those aren't real days of the week. We were 11 to 12 last week, so really finish by the boys in that short week. I don't know what happened on Monday. Regardless, we all love the Sharks here, right? We all love the Sharks. Lovable guys, even post-trade deadline. They're fighting. They're trying their best, whatever. They were at home against the Blackhawks. And how often do you look at the schedule and say, wow, I can bet on the Sharks? So Bordelot had 2 goals. Zutterland had 2 goals. Early in the second period, it was 4-0 against the lowest scoring team in the NHL. It was a late night game. There's college basketball on. I understand if you didn't catch the 2 worst teams duking out in the Tank Bowl. But with 47 seconds left, Philip Kurashev ties the game at 4. We got OT in the tank. But only for 18 seconds because Seth Jones, on a feed from Kurashev, buries it. The Sharks blow a 4-0 lead against the Blackhawks, who average for the entire season, home or away, 2.20 goals per game. They doubled their season scoring average in like 30 minutes of game time and beat you on your home ice. I understand that the loss is probably better if you're trying to, get Celebrini, but that's not the point. I was rooting for you, San Jose, and you let me down. So that's my bad beat. You can't blow a 4-0 lead to the freaking Blackhawks. And Bedard didn't score any of those goals.
If they were playing like Colorado or Florida or Rangers, then that's your own fault. But when they're playing the Chicago Blackhawks, you got to close out a 4-0. You got to do it. And anytime I think about the Sharks now, my heart goes out to that fan base because they're going to suck for a long time. Like they're not going to be good for a long time. Like it's going to be tough out there in San Jose. The fact that you're in California makes it a little bit better, but yeah, that's going to be a tough, 5 years. It's going to be bad out there for a while. John, what about you, man? What's your bad beat from the weekend?
I'm going to go back to Friday night for this one. And Friday in that show, I had a relatively good day picking that slate with just 4 games. I think I had 5 picks and I went 4-1, but the one is really what stands out for me, that loss. And that's a team we talked about earlier in this show, the Washington Capitals. They did it to me. I think Washington pretty much screwed up every angle I had for that game. The under, gone. Team total, gone. The money line, puck line, all gone. Even a 60-minute line on the Kings side of things. Washington somehow scored 7 goals in that game when they're one of the worst teams in the league in goals per game. I don't know where that performance came from, especially against Carolina. Like Carolina has been one of the better goaltending teams of late. So would I have expected Washington scoring 7 goals to ruin the perfect slate? No. I don't think I would have expected Washington to score 7 goals in any game remaining this year. Yet somehow it happened against Carolina, and they won the game in a shootout, might add. So I would say that's my bad beat. Just Capital's going to capital.
Yeah, betting on Washington gives me anxiety, man. They play tomorrow and they play my guys on Thursday, and I'm already terrified for both of those games, and there's really no need to be. My bad beat, we go to Saturday night where I had this wicked parlay of the Toronto Maple Leafs beating the Edmonton Oilers. Big plus money, and I took it. I also had Austin Matthews to score a goal. I also had Vancouver to win -1.5. And I also had Tampa Bay to beat Vegas. Toronto wins 6-3. Austin Matthews with his first empty net goal of the year. All the goals he had, it was his first empty netter, and he did it like right at the end of the game. Boom. Check. Colorado or Vancouver goes, they're home playing against the Flames, beat the Flames 4-2. Check. Starting a half an hour later was Tampa Bay in Las Vegas, where I just said that I picked Tampa Bay to win. They go down 3-1. Come back. Their captain, Stamkos, scores 2 goals. They tie it up 3-3 and then lose the game. And that was a really fun 6-hour ride of checking off parlay wins. And there's nothing worse. I think your bad beat is the worst beat when it happens at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like when you're riding a ticket from 7 p.m. all the way through and it loses in overtime at 1 a.m. It's like, what a letdown. Just an absolute letdown. And that is my bad beat. All right, 2 games in the NHL tonight. Let's break it all down, and then we'll get to our best bets. Big, huge game. We could talk about a takeaway that we never got to, but we can talk about it a little bit here. St. Louis having a big weekend. Huge win against Minnesota on Saturday. They host Vegas. St. Louis plus 124 at home. Vegas minus 148 on the road. The over is 6 at minus 112. The under is minus 108. Minus 1.5 for Vegas is plus 160. Plus 1.5 for the Blues is minus 192. Quick update in the standings in the West Coast. Those last 2 wild card spots. 88 points for Nashville. They're the first wild card. 83 points for Vegas. They are the second wild card. A team that we will be talking about in a few minutes, the Los Angeles Kings, third place in the Pacific with 85 points, 2 points ahead of Vegas. Now in that 9th spot in the West, 4 points back of Vegas, the St. Louis Blues. Massive, massive game. If the Blues want any hope of making it to the playoffs, not that this is like if you lose, then you're out, but this is a massive, massive 4-point swing either way for the St. Louis Blues. John, let's start with you first, man. What do you see in this game tonight in St. Louis?
An important game for the playoff race for sure, because I think this is St. Louis's chance to put a legitimate stamp that they're in the hunt for the playoffs. I agree with your take where it's like, I wouldn't say it's win or go home for the Blues, but I do think it's a very important game for both sides, just for separation purposes. This one's a tough one to pick, to be honest, because like on paper, I'd be inclined to go with Vegas. I do think they're the better team still, despite their recent struggles. But I don't know. Vegas hasn't really been the most reliable team lately. They've been about 500. St. Louis, I think, is winning the games they have to, for the most part at least. They haven't done anything crazy, but they've been playing pretty solid hockey since they started to get back in it. And I'll note that a few days ago they had a big overtime win against the Wild, which looking at the playoff race, very important win there. So the Blues have been the Blues have been winning important games. I'll put it that way, or winning the games they're supposed to. And they even held tough against Colorado, which makes me think they might put up a fight here, especially at home. I don't know if I'm saying the Blue. I think Mark's still a little more optimistic than me in the Blues cashing up to Vegas, but I don't know. I get the feeling they might make this a real fight. And plus 124 at home, the way they're playing right now, I think I'm inclined to go for it. I just don't really trust Vegas that much at the moment.
It's about momentum, right? And St. Louis, like Vegas, like they're on a are they on a 3-game winning streak, I believe? That might be wrong, but either way, Vegas, like they're holding on to that last spot, where St. Louis is winning games like for survival, right? So I believe I'm right there with you. We'll see. Andre, what about you, man? What do you see in this game?
Yeah, so I mean, huge game, like both of you have said. Can't be stated enough, though. St. Louis, in particular, they can close this gap to 2 games. I think it's the last time these teams play already. They split the first 2 meetings. This is just massive. And for Vegas, they won't have Aiden Hill for not just this game, the entire road trip. So that's a bad start. They're 15, 14, and 5, or 15 and 19, however you want to put it, on the road with a -7 goal differential. On the road, they've allowed 26 goals in their last 5 visiting games. Each team they faced scored at least 4. So that's also bad news. And then they're taking on a Blues team who's better at home. They only allow 2.88 goals on the road this season. Or not on the road, at home this season. They scored at least 3 goals in 7 straight, 6-1 record in that time. They have 5 different guys with more than 20 goals. Like, you can get scoring from a lot of different places. They're playing well. They're healthy. This is an awful spot for Vegas, in my opinion. I know they've been playing better lately. They kind of started to right the ship. 1-3 of their last 4, 1-5 of their last 7, whatever. Awful spot for them. I like the Blues money line here. And I was flirting with, I do have the odds up for Blues -1.5, which is plus 260. I'm that confident in St. Louis.
Yeah, that's an interesting plot twist. Correction on my part, it's 2 games in a row that Vegas has won, not 3, but Andre just laid out their most recent stretch. Yeah, like you said, man, Vegas 15, 14, and 5 on the road. They have scored 3+ goals in 6 of their last 7 games, but they've allowed 4+ goals in 3 of their last 6. The Blues, sneaky good home team. Like, I feel like earlier in the season, throughout like the halfway point, we were talking about the Blues not being a good home team. I feel like that's a conversation that we had. Well, now 21-12-1 at home of the St. Louis Blues, 6-4 in their last 10, 3+ goals in 7 straight, 4+ goals in 4 of those 7, and 5+ goals in 3 of the last 7. Their goal scoring has been way more consistent over the last 7-game stretch than I really remember it being at any point in the season. Jordan Kyrou, 4 goals in his last 2 games. He is plus 195 to score tonight. Jake Neighbors having a really, really good season. He has 4 goals in his last 4 games. He is plus 215 to put one in the back of the net tonight. Like you guys, I'm right there with St. Louis at home, plus money, plus 124. I love it, and it's going to shape up for a really exciting final couple weeks in the regular season. This is what I will say, man. Vegas, defending Stanley Cup champions, it's not over till it's over. I do kind of, like John alluded to, it's not that I don't like what I'm seeing from St. Louis, because I actually really do. I watched that game on Saturday, and they go up 1-0, and then they were chasing the game until the third period. They go up 4-3. Minnesota scores late, 4-4, come back, win it in overtime. That was a really, really gutsy performance by St. Louis, and they've beat Minnesota twice in extra time in the last week, and that's a team in the Wild that's been chasing down that last wild card spot too. So St. Louis has been winning big games down the stretch, but to go back to what John said, I feel like this is a little bit more about my uncertainty with Vegas than it is with how much I believe in the Blues. Vegas should be able to solidify that last wild card spot, but there's been some big concerns, and we'll see what happens moving forward. I am on St. Louis. I am leaning over on the over 6, just because, like I pointed out, Vegas has been scoring, but so has St. Louis. And both teams, the goaltending has been a little bit shaky over this last stretch. So I am leaning over 6, but the money line for St. Louis is my favorite bet. Moving on to Vancouver. They play the Los Angeles Kings. Like we said, Vancouver, they're pretty much home and away first place in the Pacific, challenging for first place in the West and for the President's Trophy. But they're pretty much a lock to finish first in the division. Not playing for too much with the Los Angeles Kings. They are 2 points up on Vegas, 6 points up on St. Louis in the playoff race. So they seem like they're pretty much a lock to make it. Still not 100%, but they do have some more winning to do to lock up. But I mean, who would you rather play, right? Would you rather play, get that third wild or that third division spot and play the Oilers? Or would you rather a wild card spot and play Colorado or Vancouver? Because I don't know which one of those three you'd rather play right now. I have a feeling none of them. The Western Conference, the playoff race is going to be awesome down the stretch. I can't wait for the playoffs to start. But first, Vancouver, home against the Kings. Kings plus 110 on the road. Vancouver minus 130 at home. The over 5.5 at minus 112. The under is minus 108. Minus 1.5 for the Vancouver Canucks. Plus 195. Plus 1.5 for the Kings. Minus 238. Andre, let's start with you, man. What do you see in this game tonight?
The Vancouver Canucks, best record in the NHL, or at least they have the tiebreaker. But again, they're tied with one team. There's 5 more behind them by 1 point. Crazy parity in the NHL. And this team back home hosting the Kings for the third time in less than a month. They're playing each other. No Thatcher Demko. And I don't think it matters. Nobody really is scoring against this Vancouver team in March. Besides Colorado, it's the highest scoring offense in the league. There's nothing you can do about the Avs. They're kind of inevitable at this point. Vancouver is shutting down every offense. They held the Kings to 1 goal on March 5th. I think they can hold them to 1 or 2 in this one. And if you're only asking the Canucks to score like 3 goals, you got to think that's an easy dub, right? I really like the Canucks 60-minute line here. It was plus 110 last time I saw it.
Yep.
I'm not high on either of the totals today, but I think I would lean under in this one, regardless of who wins. But don't let Demko's injury scare you, is the way I see it. I think this Canucks team is much better. They're plus 44 goal differential at home, 24-11 record. Great offense. They're keeping pucks at the net, even with Demko out. So just expect them to get this home win. They lost to the Kings the last time the Kings traveled up. I don't think it's going to happen twice.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Kings, I mean, we've been lamenting about the Kings for a good stretch here. And I mean, Andre, there was a point in time recently where you and I were pretty convinced that they were going to miss the playoffs entirely. 6-3-1 in their last 10 games, 3-game winning streak. 6-4 are the amount of goals that they have scored in the last 3 games, which I know that they've been playing some bottom feeders, but for the Kings, like, they don't score a bunch of goals no matter who they play. So for them, that's pretty significant. The Canucks, 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. They're also on a 3-game winning streak, 3+ goals in 3 straight, 4+ goals in 2 out of 3. Both these teams are scoring right now. I agree with you. Casey DeSmith has been playing very well. These guys, like, their defense has been outstanding over the last week or so. I am leaning over just because for the over to hit, we're talking 6 goals. Like, Vancouver wins 4-2. And the over hits. So I am leaning over just because both of these teams have been scoring, and I feel like one of these teams will hit 4 goals. It just kind of feels that way, and I'm thinking that team is going to be Vancouver. And that's why I'm taking Vancouver on the puck line. I'm going a little bold here. I think plus 195 for minus 1.5 is a lot. And to me, I know the Kings are a good team. Their goaltending has definitely evened out. But to me, man, Vancouver plus 195 to win by 2 goals. I don't care who you are, man. That's high for me. So I'm going to bite the bullet. Maybe DraftKings is dangling a little carrot here, and I'm going to bite it. I love vegetables, and I think that the Canucks win by 2 or more goals. Plus 195, I'm all over it. John, what about you, man?
I don't think I'm gonna go as far as the puck line, mainly because I'm a big believer in the Kings' goaltending. But I do like the 60-minute line, mainly because I think the Kings' goal scoring is what's gonna let them down here. The Kings have elite defense, elite goaltending, no question about it. The thing is, they're getting kind of. The thing is, Vancouver can keep right up with them. I mean, it's like third and fourth in the NHL in goals per goals allowed per game. And yeah, there could be certain aspects of this game that might scare you away from Vancouver, but I'm gonna choose to still believe in them. Despite a couple of rough patches with the Canucks, I feel like I have believed in them most of the year. Uh, I think they can. I think they can come up with this win mainly because I think they have more talent offensively. That's, in my opinion, the difference here. Both teams were playing pretty well, but I just think the Canucks are a better overall team. But with the King, I'm gonna show a little respect to the Kings' goaltending and gonna go with the Canucks 60-minute line.
Absolutely love it. Short and sweet today, boys. Not a lot going on tonight. Massive, massive game tomorrow. Tomorrow we got 12 games on Tuesday, another small slate with 2 games on Wednesday, but then 14 games on Thursday. John, get that pot of coffee going. Andre, I know you don't drink coffee, but get that Red Bull or whatever you got to do. Maybe it's something illegal that gets you, I don't know, pumped up in a way. Oh, sorry, my bad. I forgot we're live. Get ready because Thursday is going to be a busy day. But for now, that's all when it comes to the games on the ice tonight. Let's go right into our best bets, brought to you by none other than First Round Collectibles. With our promo code Sports Addict, you can have whatever sports card you want for 10% off. They have a sale ongoing up to 50% off. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing, it doesn't matter. They have it 10% off with our promo code Sports Addict on sale items and regular priced items. That's the number one, STRoundCollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. John, what is your best bet on the Monday night slate?
Just going to go back to the last game we talked about. I feel slightly more confident in this pick game than the Blues one. I think Vancouver's just a more complete team. I trust their goal scoring to come out on top here. Give me the 60-minute line, best bet.
Love it. Andre, what about you, bro? What do you got?
There's something I forgot to bring up when talking about the first game, and it's Robert Thomas. 50 assists in 71 games this season. He had an assist both times that the Blues faced the Golden Knights this season. We talked about how the Golden Knights are giving up over 5 goals per game on the road lately. I expect the Blues, who have been scoring consistently, to score at least 3, 4, whatever tonight. And if you're looking at that, I think Robert Thomas picking up an assist is a really good bet. Minus 135, not the greatest, craziest odds, but I really like it. So instead of taking that Blues money line that I'd also feel good about, I'm just going to trust Robert Thomas to pick up an apple. So give me a Robert Thomas assist.
Wow. Here I was preparing to pivot because I was convinced that you were going to take the St. Louis Blues and you pivot. So I'll do it. St. Louis Blues money line plus 124. I love it. If you're looking for something a little less risky, you want to water it down a little bit. Jordan Kyrou has I had this here. Let me just 3+ shots in 4 of his last 5 games. For Jordan Kyrou to get over 2.5 shots is -130. So I really like that bet. He's been shooting the puck a lot. He's been scoring a lot too. So if you're looking for something a little bit safer, over 2.5 for Jordan Kyrou in the shot department is -130. But I'm going to take the St. Louis Blues for my best bet, +124 at home against Vegas.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So, John, Vancouver Canucks 60-minute line was +110 for you. Mark, you had the Blues money line at +124. I had Robert Thomas with an assist, -135. The 3 of them together, +534.
Absolutely love it, boys. Short and sweet. Again, 11 for 15. And if you don't count Mondays, which most people don't, what did you say, Andre? 12 for 13?
12.
11 for 12. I guess the math would make sense. That makes more sense. So let's start this week off with a bang. Let's make Mondays great again. How about that? I know we're coming up to a certain time of year across the border, election year. Let's start these presidential sayings right now. Let's make Mondays great again. Everybody, thank you so much, as always, for joining us. Total Apex Sports, thank you for having us on board. We appreciate you guys. First round collectibles, promo code SportsAddict, 10% off. Everybody, good luck on your bets tonight. Play safe as always. John, Andre, great job, boys. We'll see you all tomorrow.